Well, today we have a special guest on the show on the Food Professor podcast. His name, and a lot of people know him, Michael Medline, CEO of Empire Sobeys. Welcome to the show.
Oh, thanks. And it's exciting to have the Food Professor at our offices. Having a celebrity like this we don't get this every day, Sylvain.
I've been here before, I'll admit, and it's always nice you can feel that there's a bit of a different culture in this building. I think it has a lot to do with the leadership. Do you agree with that? When you actually walk into this building, there's something special?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I don't go to our competitors ever, so I can't compare it. But I do think that when you walk in here, you feel the buzz, and you go to our cafeteria and you feel the energy. That's why I like going down to the cafeteria and seeing all my teammates who are here in Tahoe. But you just come in, you get that food feel when you see the rooms where we prepare the food downstairs and experiment with things, and you see the sports. And
I've toured all those facilities. It's just great.
They're very cool. And I inherited those facilities. Whoever designed this building did a great job.
Yeah, and actually, as I was coming here this morning from the airport, I actually felt hungry, because I know when you walk in, you're almost in the cafeteria and you got the labs going, and it's just great.
Yeah, and we have half-price Starbucks, which is so it's hard ever to leave this company, because then you have to pay full Starbucks.
That's your strategy.
Yeah,
okay.
That's one of them.
So we do have a global audience. So not everyone knows Empire Sobeys. So could you tell us a little bit about the company you're leading, you've been leading for a while, and a little bit about yourself as well?
Well, I'll tell you about the company. And, it's I came here in 2017, in January of 2017. And it's been a wild ride ever since. The company is a national grocer, one of two national grocers in the country. We have 129,000 teammates, which is really hard to fathom. We're the second largest employer after the government. And Loblaws. And so, and we are predominantly in full service grocery, but about 11-12% of our business is in discount. And that's grown since I've joined. But it's a big grocer. It serves communities all across the country. It is proudly Nova Scotian. Our head office is in Pictou County in Stellarton.
That's right.
And you feel that. And when you talk about the culture, when you walk in here, I think even here you feel that, that Pictou County, that really Canadian local feel that we're trying to go for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you have been present in Stellarton quite a bit during your tenure.
Yeah. And I love going there. Obviously, we're the biggest show in town. And I get treated really nicely there.
I think you're the only show in town, aren't you?
No, there's a bunch of other businesses, but we're certainly the biggest employer in Pictou County, and proud to be that. And that will always be our home.
Right.
And I really feel the company the most when I'm there.
Mm-hmm. Let's talk about business strategy. Let's kind of get into this. So, you've led the organization in what continues to be very disruptive times. I mean, the big disruption of COVID, of course, and now we've got new types of disruption, whether that's the reworking of global trade or whether AI. We're going to talk a little bit more about AI. How do you talk about retail without AI? It's right in the name. How do you approach business strategy in such a time? And you and I have talked about this a little bit before. And what lessons did you learn from the COVID era? And talk about that for a minute.
You can get so disrupted on a daily basis, first of all. There's always, in retail, with 129,000 teammates, like I said, and all the stores we have, there's always something going on. And so you have to deal with those day-to-day things. But you always have to have that North Star, which you're pointing toward. And I think that's what's kept us on a good trajectory over the last 9 years, that we had a strong strategy. But even more than that, we have a really great culture, and that culture existed before I got to the company. In fact, my job was just to bring it out more and bring out the strengths. And we have strong values. So when we faced any of the crises that we faced, and there have been many since 2020, we always were able to rely on our culture and values And no matter what was going on, we kept pushing forward with our strategy. And I think I tell people that all the time. You have daily distractions, you have quarterly pressure, and you have to respond to those. That's part of your job. But at the same time, you know where you want to take the company. And every single day, you've got to move it closer to that goal, notwithstanding all of the other things that crop up.
You know, if you looked up transformation in the business dictionary, I think what you've done here would be the definition, because you did an amazing job transforming the organization. What are you most proud of in your tenure here?
Yeah, I was, you know, as I reach getting near the end of my tenure here, I think about that a lot. And I mean, there's so many things I'm proud of, but I think the proudest I am is when I'm in our stores and I see the difference in the stores. Not only the look of the stores, but how we serve the customers. And we always had such a great team. Now we're giving them the tools to be able to do their job in a greater way. And I was out in Saskatchewan last week, and I was in Regina, and I was so touched by what I saw in the Safeway, in the Fresh Go, and what we've been able to accomplish together. And at the end of the day, that's what makes me most sentimental. That's what I'll miss the most, are my teammates in the store. At the same time, I think when you look at it from a business point of view, and I was talking to some of my executive colleagues in the last couple of days, I think the biggest difference you see at our company is twofold. We have, without a lot of pomp, we have transformed our real estate. And so we took over, I took over, and many of our stores, especially in Western Canada, were dilapidated. They weren't up to the standards that our customers should expect from us. And over these 9 years, we put in billions of dollars into our stores, and built new stores. And that is a legacy I'm proud of. While on the other side of it, data. I think we're one of the companies that has now the cleanest data. We were able to do things that we used to be, everything we wanted to do when I was here the first few years. Oh, we can't do that. We don't have the data. We can't do that. We don't have the data. And we just, behind the scenes, not sexy, doesn't make you a lot of money.
I like what you did there, behind the scenes. I like that. I like what you did there.
Yeah, it's a little I wish I'd done it on purpose. So we just kept building and building out our data and technology platforms and spending the money, hiring good people. And so now you've got the stores and you've got that the data and analytics, which lead to everything that we're going to have to do. So I think we got the infrastructure and tools in place.
When you came into the role, I've been around for 25 years, so and I didn't know who you were when you came in, and I was told, "Oh, Michael Medline is a great brand guy. He's a great brand guy." That's what I heard. I don't know if you agree with that, but that's what I heard. But since I've known you, I don't see you as just a brand guy. You like technologies.
Yeah, I like.
If you look at your legacy, I mean, you think of Voila, you think of Ocado, you think of all the data discussion you just had now with Scene and everything else. I mean, disruptive technologies are clearly a priority for you. Do you agree with that assessment?
Yeah, I do. I am a brand guy. I'm always thinking about the brand in the greatest sense of the word, and that you can do 1,000 things to build your brand, and it just takes one thing to destroy it. And so I'm always thinking about the brand. It's not just a marketing thing, which I think is important, and I'm always going to have that. I'm always going to have that. But I think that part of me, and I think it does relate to brand still, is that you have to be innovative. You have to move with the times to thrill your customers. And so I get really excited about new ways of doing business. I don't think I've ever become stale or tried to do the same things. I'm always looking for the next thing. And so, yeah, I don't want to be pigeonholed as just the brand person, but I do darn well care about the brand.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And clearly you do, because, I mean, you look at the private labeling situation you inherited, and you and I actually taught an MBA class. I don't know if you remember in Halifax. Students really enjoyed that session with you and your executives, and it was all about private labels.
Yes.
And it was a complex situation, and things appear from the outside. Things appear much more. I'd say things are clearer right now when it comes to your private labeling strategy.
Yes.
Compared to 9 years ago, for sure. You did expand your footprint by acquiring companies.
Yeah, that was crazy. We're turning around a company.
I know.
And
Farm Boy,
and the
Longos.
board let us buy Farm Boy.
I know.
Especially the Farm Boy was so early, and it's hard to believe now. But I talked about the North Star before. That the first year was crazy, transforming this company, turning it around. It was just crazy. We were going at breakneck speed. But while doing that, we did a strategic plan, and the strategic plan said that we weren't strong enough in Ontario, which was at the time the fastest growing region, and that we needed different ways to build our market share and thrill our customers. And I became friends with Jean-Louis Bellemare and Jeff York, and over a Labor Day long weekend, we made a deal to purchase them. And so while we were transforming the company, we were putting in place all the building blocks. And I think sometimes even I lose sight of that all the, even today, we're moving there's a master plan and we're executing on it. But even I'm a bit shocked still that I and the team
pulled
the
it off.
Farm Boy in the middle of that, and it's a credit actually to the Farm Boy people that they were so amazing.
It feels like that saying, you're changing the tires on the airplane between Toronto and Vancouver, or Toronto and Halifax, right? You got to get there, but you've got to keep moving.
But you know how fast, you referred to it a minute ago, like in terms of, how fast this industry moves. Yeah. So it wasn't that, let's get all our systems right, let's get all the infrastructure in place, then we'll do all this. We had to be doing it all at once. There was we had to hurry. And mostly it worked.
The thing about Sobeys, and this is my own assessment, is that you're a big player in the business, but you also embrace independent groceries.
Yeah.
As well. It's an awkward melange, I would say, because that's not the reality over at your competition. I mean, they do some, but not as much as you. You're a hybrid. You're dealing with independence. You're running corporate, and my guess with Farm Boy and Longo is that they did see that in Sobeys before partnering with you. Am I wrong in saying that?
No, I think you're absolutely right that
because Safeway was a disaster. I think we all can admit that.
I think it was a good acquisition, badly integrated.
Yeah,
is how I say it.
Safeway.
Safeway. And now you can see that the bones were good.
Sure.
But I do agree that what I always tell people that, especially our young, director level or manager level, that how you conduct yourself in your career and how a company conducts itself lasts. And that so I always say that the most important thing about doing an acquisition is what you do after you do the acquisition. Do you live up to your bargains? Are your promises you made to the partner you're bringing on board, like Farm Boy or Longos, did you live by that? Because, and fortunately, for me, I had done other acquisitions, very successful ones at Canadian Tire, Mark's Work Warehouse at the time, now known as Mark's, and Sport Check. And everyone was happy. The purchase company was happy. We were happy. We treated them with respect. We listened to them. And so I had a track record personally of doing that. And this company had a track record of being a different kind of brand and very accepting of new ideas and not being this, I don't know, I mentioned the other day, no one got it, but in Star Trek, Star Trek The Next Generation, there used to be this thing called the Borg, which just assimilated everything. I don't like assimilation. We bought Farm Boy because it's different. I don't want to make it look like anything else, including our banners. And so Farm Boy did their homework. They found out they knew what we were like. I had already established a great relationship. But then we lived up to it, and we still live up to it. Jean-Louis and I have never had a crossword in our lives. It's just a wonderful partnership.
Wow.
And so when Anthony Longo wanted to figure out what kind of partner we were, he called Jean-Louis and Jeff York.
That's the one that shocked me more, I would say. Yeah, between Farm Boy and Longos, I was very surprised because I actually did the same we did the live case study with you.
Yeah.
I did that with Anthony.
Yeah,
And so I know the company very well. And I thought, wow, that's amazing. Because you have to trust probably a big deal there.
There's a big family, a lot of family members in the business. Anthony's
because I taught the
father and uncle
class
started
at
it.
Longo's in Vaughan.
Yeah.
Like because I couldn't do it at Guelph. I was at Guelph at the time. They didn't allow me to teach a class to MBAs at Guelph because I was sharing, confidential information with the students. So they wanted me there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's interesting. And Anthony's such a fantastic leader. But I remember I think Anthony would be okay me telling you this, that he invited me out to lunch one day and we became friends, and he asked me to go on the Grocery Foundation board, which I did because of Anthony. I went on it personally. And at the time I said, and this was really early on, like this was before, I think, the Farm Boy deal. It was. Mm-hmm. And I said, if you ever want to sell, we will buy. Mm-hmm. We will partner with you. But I
said that outright?
I said that to him, but I said, I will never, I have so much respect for your company and you. I will never mention this to you again. I will never ask, but you remember this. And I said, and by the way, I said, you should stay a private company. It's really fun to be a private company and not go through all the stuff I have to go through.
Yeah.
And then Anthony called me years later, and wow. I was at my house. It was on a weekend or something, and I was in my backyard. I don't remember where I was. And he said, how come you've never called me? I said, because I told you I would never call you. I have respect for you.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's how the Longo's deal started.
Huh.
And that was during COVID.
So you're almost done as CEO. So what's your, I'd say I'm a professor. So I look at the SWOT analysis. I do SWOT analysis all the time. I think they're boring, but still asking a CEO is always interesting. Assessing his own company. So could you give us a SWOT analysis of Sobeys like 9 years ago when you started, and what has changed since then?
Yeah, I mean, I got to say, when looking back, that the base was always there. Okay, it was always there. We had a great family, the Sobeys family, who is so generous and so giving and wonderful to serve. And I serve the Sobeys family and all our shareholders. And so we had that in place. We had a good base of stores. We had mostly the right people, especially in the stores, we had the right people. And so all we had to do was come up with a strategy and execute on it. Mm. But I'll admit today, I was shocked what I saw when I came here. Because they let me at Canadian Tire run some small businesses, which was crazy. They let me do that at the time, but it seemed to work out. So I ran a little company called Part Source. And in many ways, this little Part Source retailer, which is auto parts, probably had 50 stores at the time, had a lot of the procedures and processes and tools in place, better than what I found when I came into Empire in some ways. And we had just lost our path. And I think some of that was that we were a bunch of regions almost competing against each other, maybe competing against each other, and not a national company with one goal. And that was the first thing I cleaned up. I came in January. By the beginning of May, we had restructured the company. It's hard now for me to think about how quickly that occurred.
It was pretty aggressive.
Yeah. And so that not only...
But you were brought in as a change agent. You were,
Well, I had never thought of myself in that way. I thought I had done a pretty good job at Sport Check, and I'd done some things at Canadian Tire, but I'd never faced a turnaround of this like this. But that was the job.
Right.
So now everybody thinks I'm this change agent.
Now you're turnaround.
Now I'm like this. You could turn it around.
But you came in as I'll be honest with you. You came in as a non-food guy.
Oh, I know.
I mean,
I know.
Do you think it helped you?
It did. But then people went, "Why do you?" Because when I was at Canadian Tire, and so I've been in hard goods and soft goods. I think I'm the only CEO ever to run a hard goods, soft goods, and grocer.
I can't think of another.
I can't either, so I'll claim I am. So And so, but I always found grocers a little snobby, that it was a hard, like, they always look down on us hard goods people because, like, mostly things don't go bad in a hard goods retailer. And, it's much harder to do grocery.
There's some truth to that.
There's truth. But what I found was that 95% of retail is very similar. And I said right away, if I have to tell you how to do the basics of when to put the berries, out, and when to put, berries in, like you've got bigger problems than I think you'd have. And they didn't have that problem. And so I have such great grocers. I mean, I was surrounded by great grocers. I mean, Pierre Saint Laurent, who's now the COO, he wasn't even running Quebec at the time. So part of my job, like I always say, in reality, I don't do anything. No, I have the fewest direct reports. But my job
How many direct reports do you have?
I have 7 right now.
Wow.
I have 6 executives and a chief of staff. And
so
I used to have a lot more.
Flat.
Yeah. I had too many reports, and I wanted to give other people more responsibility to test them.
And curious about if you drew a pie chart percentage of where you spend your time, many CEOs would say they should spend more time on people as a percentage. Do you think you're spending the right amount of time on people, tech, business, strategy?
I spend most of my time on people.
Right,
and I think that's how you do it. You have to motivate people. They're all motivated differently. You have to drive the performance. You have to, I can be nice. I can be not nice. I can be, whatever it takes. But everyone else is driving the company. My job is almost like a conductor in an orchestra. It's not an unimportant job, but everyone else is playing the instruments. And I realize that. Yeah. And so I have to really make it so they have all the tools and that they're happy and that they can do their jobs and not get in their way. Don't micromanage them.